everyone, and welcome to the Propcast. My name is Louisa Dickens, co-founder of Ella Mulry and board director of the UKPA, and I shall be your weekly host. Each week for 30 minutes, we'll be connecting the VCs, prop tech startups, and real estate professionals globally, and assist in bridging that famous communication gap we all love talking about. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Propcast. Today's guest is Bob Courteau, Chief Executive of Altus Group, and we will be talking about the power of global data. So welcome, Bob. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, Louisa. Thanks for having me. Great to chat with you.
Awesome. For those who are listening, Bob has numerous years of experience working in international markets and is responsible for the overall strategic direction of the Altus Group. Since joining as CEO in 2012, Bob has repositioned the company for growth by capitalizing on a global market opportunity for software and data solutions into the commercial real estate sector. And a little bit of background to Altus Group, who is the leading provider of software, data solutions, and independent advisory services to the global commercial real estate industry. Their businesses, Altus Analytics and Altus Expert Services, reflects decades of experience, a range of expertise, and technology-enabled capabilities. Their solutions empower clients to analyze, gain insight, and recognize value on their real estate investments. They're headquartered in Canada and have approximately 2,250 employees with offices around the world, and it keeps on growing. And their clients include many of the world's largest commercial real estate industry participants. So that's a little bit about who we're speaking to and what we're going to be learning about the power of data. Bob, now, if we're going to sort of kickstart the questions, just from that introduction, Altus Group has clearly grown and gone from strength to strength. And I guess presuming along with the recognitions of the importance of data, why do you think there's been such an increase in interest in it from, I guess, the real estate industry?
Yeah, great starting question. Like for me, it's pretty obvious why the industry is really becoming really much more focused on data. It really comes down to three things. One of them, and the obvious one, is there's a return on controlling your data. When you don't control it, it costs you money. The actual opportunity cost of redoing work, not having efficient workflows is high. And, we do an annual commercial real estate executive survey, and we asked the question about how much time are people spending managing and organizing data. And frankly, almost half said that they're spending 15 to 25% of their time managing and organizing data. So it's just that cost imperative is critical to get under control. And then clean data, really getting control of how you look at your business, is fundamental to good governance, insight, and decision making. So at the baseline, there's a high need in our industry. But what's accelerated it even more is that we've had a bunch of people come into our industry from other industries where they're really good at monetizing data, turning data into information. People like the CTOs, data scientists, and frankly, even some of the prop tech companies have seen how you can take data and turn it into information. And so the new normal for real estate is to really go after this huge demand for information in a way that it can really change your competitive dynamic. And then you throw the pandemic in it, and you start thinking about things like customer demographics, the implications of commuting, retail of the future, mixed use work and live paradigms, up and coming trends around global supply chains, new neighborhoods, new cities, the high need to control tenant experience and client and corporate expectations, competitive contracting. This takes you into a whole new world of understanding and a whole new set of data for our industry that is going to be important.
Yeah. Back to your point about sort of CTOs and I guess coming to our industry, for a lot of my clients, I'm now trying to attract CTOs from all sorts of other industries, whether it's sort of like finance or other sort of technology sectors, and they're now seeing the huge opportunity they have to really sort of change the real estate world. So that's sort of big picture, which I do, and all these real estate investment funds are finally hiring these CTOs as well, or heads of innovation, digital transformation managers. So it's an exciting time for, I guess, the change of data movement of people. So I guess, how has your sort of customer and clients list grown over the years? Have there been larger sort of clients to market? Are they sort of smaller clients? What's the change you've seen?
Well, I think the biggest change we've seen is the globalization of our client base. We were always strong in Canada, where we originated, and in the US. That has been historically the focus of our business. But about 4 or 5 years ago, we made a conscious decision to invest in a global capacity. Really, it was in the primary orientation, really supporting the globalization of real estate. When you start thinking about the biggest companies in the world who are our clients, it's just following those clients around the world in a way where we could support them in their needs. And for that reason, now we have offices in Sydney, Singapore, Hong Kong, London, Paris, and truly it is a global business. And that's really helped us grow our client base in those markets as well. And so really, if you look at our client base in the US, in Canada, the US, and the UK now, we're really a valuation standard. We built functionality in Germany and France to really make sure that we achieve the same level of standardization. All of this sets up the opportunity to springboard into a global data platform. And we've done that. And we are fortunate to work with some of the biggest companies in the world and work with them to get control of their assets on a global basis using our software, our data, and our services platform.
But looking at those sort of free platforms you just mentioned, I guess, how have you managed to service all your sort of global clients and sort of give them access to data, and how do you give them the ability to generate the most value from it?
So we in the US have always done really well with Argus as a platform for valuation. But what we've done the last 4 or 5 years is turn that into a technology that allows people to get control of their portfolio. So really start thinking about normalizing decision-making on assets in multiple markets, both for the origination or the acquisition, but also in terms of planning your portfolio, budgeting, looking at the sensitivity analysis associated with your portfolio. So we have a technology now that allows the biggest companies in the world to actually look at their assets on the basis of value against their plans, their goals in terms of achieving their investment performance. And so that really has been a big driver in the growth of Argus as a global product. But we started by supporting, these companies in the US where we have 100 funds on our cloud-based data platform. Wow. We've married that up with a mid-market strategy where we can support first in an Argus on-demand environment, and now in a cloud environment, both small and mid-sized companies, so they could actually have access to a modern infrastructure. And now we have, over 6,000 software customers. If you take the top 200 investors in the world, we have, over 180 on our platform in some fashion, whether it's software, data, in our fund management platform or our valuation management platform. So we have multiple entry points, and we're now connecting these solutions in a way where people can take control of their portfolios on a global basis. So lots of entry points, and by making investments in offices and people in each of these markets, we also have visibility to what's going on on a global basis.
Yeah. And I guess for you, is there a particular part of the product that you're sort of most excited about since joining as CEO, or has there been sort of a particular sort of success story?
Yeah, I think the first shift we made is to turn Argus valuation, DCF, into an enterprise product. And we continue to add a lot of functionality around that. It was a three-pronged strategy: extend the functionality and go global, and find ourselves in a place where we could actually integrate it with a cloud-based platform. So like a modernization of the applications. And we continue to make significant strides in all three. So the extension of the product in terms of functionality and making sure that our biggest clients can operate, their portfolios on a global basis. And now with Argus Cloud, to be able to do that in a modern way that, frankly, coming back to your first question, now allows people to control their data, not only, through Argus, but through things like APIs and the ability to include Argus data as part of other workflows that they might have in the business.
And I guess since your products that are changing, your client and sort of customer base, growing, is the vision still the same? And I think a lot of my clients and just businesses out there, a lot of businesses struggle when you go global to sort of maintain the right sort of culture and vision. I guess how does your business go about doing that?
Well, I think we've hired amazing people, and it's a huge differentiation for our business. A big part of that is we absolutely want to make sure that the entry point on these new markets is a customer service entry point. It's great to have the technology. It's important to be able to give people the functionality they're looking for. Cloud-based technology opens up the opportunity to really, really innovate on how you operate your business on a global basis. But at the end of the day, you have to have people that are like-minded about making the customer the priority as you move forward. And we've been able to do that. Our teams in London, Paris, Luxembourg, Singapore, Hong Kong, we've added a number of really, really talented individuals, because at the end of the day, people are more interested in the outcomes, the results of all of this new technology and what it means for their business than the actual platforms themselves. And the embodiment of that is the quality of people we have in our organization and the focus on, culture and a service-oriented culture in our business.
Is there a shortage of talent in your sector, or a specific sort of area of your business where there's a skills shortage, where you might know maybe we need to draw in people from other sectors?
Yeah, we absolutely have done that. And Louisa, this in this industry, finding people that understand the basic workings and mechanisms of modern real estate and a good understanding of technology and data is really, really tough. And we've been able to find some of those people and get them working in our company. But beyond that, we definitely have brought in data scientists, folks that understand things like machine learning, really brought in, people from the information services business now that are playing big roles in our company. And we've even brought in traditional real estate people where they've had a chance to really get involved in our technology. And so banding all of that together is a big part of the chemistry we're trying to achieve, where you can really, really achieve for our customers a good understanding of where we've been as an industry and where we have to go. Yeah.
And I guess if we're talking about where you have to go, let's start talking, let's look at the future. How do you see the demand for data and sort of software changing? What are clients reaching out for? And I'm sure it's sort of changed if we're looking at sort of post-COVID times.
Yeah, I think I talked about it earlier in my opening comments. It's you have to take cost out with data. You have to find yourselves not, continually recreating the same data that you did, that you had last quarter, last month, last week. And the automation of your workflows, the improvement in the way you manage your business is fundamental. That's not real estate, that's every industry. If you don't have things like straight through processing of data and information, you're going to be at a competitive advantage. I would tell you that the most innovative, largest companies in the world are building huge data lakes that give them information not only from the real estate industry, but from other industries to spot new trends, new opportunities. What are the cities of the future? What are the neighborhoods of the future that are going to really drive the way you can create value as part of your portfolio? And because those companies are driving these kind of new ways of looking at commercial real estate, it becomes a little bit of an arms race because they're creating tech envy with these new models around data. You can be sure that the industry as a whole is going to move there. And if you don't keep up with that same kind of original thinking or innovative thinking, then you're going to be left behind on those opportunities, and it'll show up in the performance of your fund.
Yeah. Are there any sort of parts of the world which is sort of slower in this uptake, or are there any future markets where you're looking at targeting as a business?
I mean, I think prop tech is a really good purveyor of where there is pace and change. And obviously the US has been unbelievable in producing new and innovative companies, and always more to come. More investment in the US. And what I've observed is, in the UK, all of a sudden not far behind and frankly catching up in many cases with a lot of very exciting companies. But now what you're seeing is that the world is turning to prop tech, where traditional venture capital companies are now around the world looking at supporting this industry because of the opportunity to accelerate the way business is done, maybe more than any other industry in the world, because, historically we've been a little bit behind. And so the catch up that's going on right now is amazing. So, the hot areas and, the largest companies are in, New York, Toronto, London, Paris. And so that's where you're seeing a lot of the innovation led by, the biggest companies in the world that are finding different ways to do business.
Yeah, my aim this year for LMR race, we cover East and West Coast, but my aim was to go to Toronto to sort of get a good feel for the prop tech community there. Fortunately, it's obviously travel's been slightly slowed down, which, Bob, I'm sure you're slightly enjoying not being on a flight nonstop, but I can't wait to go to get a good feel for that market, because it seems like there's a lot of activity going on there. I guess going back to your point about, other people coming to the market as a growing space, what makes Altus sort of the right choice opposed to other companies out there? What gives you your competitive edge?
Well, I think I already said it. We have the best team in the industry. I really believe that. We believe in convergence. It's not software. It's not services. It's not data. It's actually a platform that allows people to really think about how they can collect the information to run their business. Well, we try and make the company exciting and interesting for the people that are here. And we believe in promoting choice and openness. And as part of our API strategy, more and more, we believe there's an opportunity to share data in the industry and do that not only with our clients, also with other innovators in the industry, whether it's, the large incumbent players or some of the early innovative prop tech companies. And I think, we've invested in prop tech directly. We work closely with, the prop tech companies and even with some of the venture capital companies to increase the move towards an open and innovative world. And so I think for all those reasons, we've prospered because we've been open and innovative. We've actually enjoyed a disproportionate amount of success as a company. So give to get.
Yeah. And I guess outside of data, if we're talking about sort of collaborating with whether it's other sort of businesses or areas, are there what other innovation do you see sort of really affecting real estate outside of data?
Yeah, I mean, the whole world is going to be driven by AI, machine learning, the ability to collect data at scale and to put that data into information. So the two big themes as we go forward, and the transition we're on is to be able to combine the automation of processes and workflows, not only inside of Argus and our valuation management platform, but to do that in partnership with other companies in the industry, and then to really, really light that up the ability to use AI and other modeling capabilities for decision making is going to be very, very cool. And then if you look forward, online marketplaces, the way consumers are going to interact with real estate is going to change. So creating choice and understanding of, different types of relationships around the world is also going to change. And that is going to create complexity. That's going to require some level of new efficiency to be able to realize the opportunity.
That sort of covers my question, sort of where do you sort of see the next sort of big opportunities for prop tech post-COVID? And I completely agree with you. You're going to see an uptake in, those areas you just mentioned. If we're specifically looking at Altus, where do you see Altus sort of 5 years down the road?
Well, we are organizing ourselves and have been for the last 6 years to have a global integrated cloud-based modern platform so people can really operate their portfolios in that fashion. We also believe that valuation is the whole appraisal process is the best place in the industry to collect data regularly with certainty, with underlying information that gives you the right level of insight on what's going on in your company and for the industry. And we want to really light that up. We want to light that up in ways that allow organizations to have the fundamental platform and information to run their business, improve workflows, create liquidity, understand investment decisions, really give good insights to their investors, have proper governance, all the meat and potatoes that you see in other industries that, have been in some respects lacking. But then we want to flip over and do that with innovators like prop tech companies and, again, some of the organizations like VTS and Yardi, where we can lift the value, not only for our solutions, but in combination with other smart, innovative companies in the industry. And that's what we're all about. And I would say that we've had two lifts in the business. The first lift was the move towards functionality and globalization. The second one was modernization. And for us today, the big thing we're working on for the next few years is all about information management and data in a way that is going to drive the business. And that's where we're going, all oriented towards supporting the largest global investment management companies in the world, but also the network that comes with that, the companies that serve those companies, and even in the small and medium marketplaces, give them an opportunity to have access to, some of these solutions that are going to be critical to operating your business as a real estate company, a modern real estate company. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be a very busy man, Bob, for the next sort of few years and so on. God. But it sounds definitely exciting. You're definitely innovating and adapting. And I'm sure a lot of prop techs would love some sort of collaboration with your business or ways of sort of working together. So I'm sure you won't be short of people putting their hands up for that. Unfortunately, this brings us to the end of the show. But I guess before we go, Bob, is there anything you'd like to share with the audience and our listeners, or the best way for them to connect with you and learn more about your business?
Yeah, we just held our Argus Connect virtual event, and we had Rick Clark on from Brookfield, and he shared a little piece of advice that I thought I would pass along. When you start thinking about what we're trying to do the industry with others, his advice was, if you can accomplish anything as long as you don't try and take credit for it. And I thought that was a really, really nice way of looking how we're thinking about the industry. We don't have to do it alone. We're going to try and do it with others. And if you want to connect with me, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm not that hard to find, and I'll look forward to hearing from folks. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today, Louisa.
Oh, God, no, it's been a pleasure learning about, I guess, the business and what's to come. And it sounds really hopeful, and it's nice to have a positive conversation. And I guess Best of luck to you and the business. And I guess looking forward to catching up again with you soon. Thank you for coming on the Propcast.
Great. Best industry in the world to work in. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you for joining us this week on the Propcast, and a big thanks to our special guests. Make sure you visit our website, www.nmre.co.uk, where you can subscribe to our show, or you'll find us on iTunes and Spotify, where all good content is found. Whilst you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate if you could rate and review us on iTunes, or if you simply just spread the word. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday, and I'll catch you later.
You're listening to a Podcast Company podcast. This was made by Podcast Syndicator, where we help you go from start to grow to making money with your podcast. Let us help you share your message and your voice with the world. Reach out now, Jason at podcastsyndicator.com or Brett at podcastsyndicator.com to find out more. Thank you for listening, and do come back to hear nothing but the best podcasts.